You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
Welcome to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. I'm David, and I have a full studio here tonight. Jason is not with us. He's otherwise engaged, so I have the lovely Christiana Lewis from the Hemp Connoisseur as well with us. Say hello, Christiana.
Hello.
Yes. And then we have two great guests with us tonight. We have Nathan Johnson representing Cannapages. How are you doing today, Nathan?
Good. How's it going?
Excellent, excellent. And then we also have Jason Thomas from LEAP. It's Law Enforcement Against Prohibition.
Yes.
Great organization. We've wanted actually to get Jason on for quite some time, so we're really happy to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
It's our pleasure. So before we start getting into some news, let me just get a little bit of background on each one of you guys. So let's start with you, Nathan. So you're with Cannapages. How long have you been with them?
I'm actually one of the co-founders.
Right on.
Been with them since day one.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually been live online for a little over 3 years now. And we just launched nationally probably in the last 6 months.
Awesome. How's that going?
It's going pretty good, man. Yeah, we're just we're building our lists for the rest of the states, and had a lot of support from their medical marijuana communities too.
Right,
so it's been pretty nice.
Well, we definitely have something to talk about because of what went down last night at the 64 Task Force. Did you hear about this one?
No.
Oh, we'll get into it, but they want to ban all advertising. All advertising. Yes.
Wow.
My eyes went up like that too.
Well, we do want to say there's some allowable in black and white only.
Black and white only, yes.
Right,
yes.
so.
But we'll get into that more in detail in a second. And then, Jason, you've been with LEAP now for 2 years.
Yes, I am.
And what got you involved in LEAP?
Well, I was a former law enforcement officer working in southeastern Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And having been introduced to the medical marijuana industry 3 years ago, I found a melding of the one voice that I have from law enforcement along with working in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And found a great opportunity in LEAP to just get out and speak and educate people, re-educate people about cannabis laws and the ills of the drug war that are caused.
And so does LEAP have a different focus now in Colorado, now that 64 is passed?
We don't have a different focus, but we're certainly not as active.
Gotcha.
I was very active during the last year, the 64 campaign, primarily getting out and speaking in front of groups, debating and then doing interviews on behalf of the campaign, but as a member of LEAP. And since my activity level has dropped, but that was expected.
Right.
But LEAP is focusing in other states, such as Massachusetts, that is just now bringing on their medical marijuana laws and enacting that.
And now, do you guys help, like, effectively lobbying, like, saying, like, look, this is what's been going well in Colorado? I mean, are you guys, I mean, because I've been following Massachusetts, my home state, and they don't seem to be looking at the Colorado model as of what I've seen so far and said, hey, this is what's worked, this is what hasn't, let's focus on that. I mean, they're already limiting how many dispensaries without understanding the demand that is going to be encompassed there, 35 for the entire state, for a very densely populated state, at least on the eastern seaboard side of it, is ridiculous. Now, great for those 35 centers because they're going to have more business there than they can handle.
They'll stay in business,
exactly.
most
Yeah.
certainly.
Well, and you look at the model that's used in Washington, D.C., I believe they're only allowed a half dozen cultivation sites and about a dozen centers. So you look at the population that NC, and I'm not sure the statistics that they pulled and went through on the supply-demand curve, but they're still limiting it's not a free market. It's not an open market, which is fine as long as it meets the needs of the people.
Right.
Right.
Right. Understood. Well, I have to get this out of the way. I don't mean it to sound like getting out of the way, but I did promise our listeners last week because we didn't talk about hemp at all. And so I have to bring up hemp a little bit. A couple weeks ago, there was a meeting, basically the seedling stage for the hemp task force, quote-unquote task force, that has not been put together. We all know that the Amendment 64 task force has been put together, but they're not even looking at hemp as of right now.
They've been very active.
They've been very active, almost scarily active, actually. But a lot of things have been thrown out there that are creating a lot of rumors out there, and we're probably going to be guilty of spreading a little bit of rumor right now because we're not sure.
It's all speculative right now.
It is all speculative, and we'll get into it. But I want to talk about how exciting it was. I was not able to make the meeting for the hemp meeting, which I'd known about for a while, and I was invited, and I was excited to, but I had a relapse of the flu, so I wasn't able to make it. But I did get to listen to the entire recording of it. It was about 2 hours long, and I'm just very excited, and I just want to express that excitement to you guys of the type of people that are already looking to get involved in the hemp industry. I mean, we have a lot of industry people like that are looking on building materials like hempcrete, which is huge potential with hempcrete, as people have heard us talk about many times over. And really just want everybody to know that it is moving forward on the hemp side. Linda Parker and Jason Love have been putting these meetings together. They're going to be meeting. We're going to be all meeting at least once a month, if not every couple of weeks, and really discussing how to get the agricultural side in Colorado on board, and also how to get the industry out there to create buyers for the actual crop. Because a lot of people don't realize in Canada in 1998 is when they allowed hemp production. They created this huge boom, like, oh my God, we're going to sell so much hemp, but they didn't have the industry in line to purchase all of the hemp products. And so there was this huge boom, and all these farmers were growing hemp. And then there was all this hemp that was just drying out on their fields because they didn't have anywhere for it to go. So there was all these people growing it, and then there's this huge decline for a couple of years, and they had another little bitty boom, but then it declined again. And then around 2002, 2004, I want to say, is when they started really amping up production and the demand was created. And so that's what our goal is with the Hemp Connoisseur, is to create more demand for hemp in Colorado to help support that side of the industry, because I've said it over and over again, we're always excited about marijuana. Marijuana is an inkling of the amount of industry and jobs and the economy that we can stimulate that hemp can do.
Absolutely.
So I just want to get that out there. We will have Jason Love on hopefully next week, where he's trying to make himself available to really break all of that down. So I want to let you know we're not ignoring the hemp side, but we are waiting until we have way more information to pass on to you guys. So that said, we're going. Unless you guys have anything you want to input on the hemp side.
Very excited for us to get going on the hemp stuff.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be nice if Colorado was the lead exporter to the rest of the U.S. For
that-
hemp instead of Canada. I mean, no
Well, I
offense,
think we
Canada.
are going to take Canada's sales
Yeah,
for sure. I
absolutely.
mean, why would you buy from Canada if you can buy it local? From,
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
and there are constraints on this industry, the hemp industry, because I would expect that transporting outside of the Colorado border as a raw product,
Yeah.
it's a gray area, and who knows?
It would
Well,
have to be a
but-
completed product,
Right.
possibly.
Yes.
But
But that's a
manufacturing
good
here.
thing. Yeah.
yeah, but that's a good thing. That's more jobs
Yeah.
here. That's
Yeah.
manufacturing jobs. That's
And those are the
cultivation
types of jobs that raise the economy and create jobs, sustainability, and
Oh, yeah.
hopefully economic prosperity.
Right? Hopefully, right?
Exactly. I mean, right now, the marijuana industry does employ thousands of people who otherwise were not employed. I mean, I was just having a conversation with somebody last night. She's in her mid-20s, and she was just saying, she's like, I can name 5 friends right now without even having to think about it that did not have a job that were my age, that have gotten a job, and they are in the marijuana industry, whether they smoke it or not. And that's the thing that people understand. I mean, I was a bartender for a very long time. I still occasionally do it just for fun. And I don't drink. But it brings in an income for me. So you don't have to be a marijuana smoker to be employed by this industry and be affected by it. And I think that's something that more and more people need to be made aware of, especially the Amendment 64 Task Force, who is what it sounds like from the meeting yesterday, and of course this is still speculation, and this is the conversation I really wanted to have with you guys today about this, is and I know you're going to be interested in this one, Nathan, is that they are discussing the possibility of eliminating or highly restricting all advertising for the medical marijuana industry. Now, I understand the idea behind restrictions, but what a lot of people don't realize is, when we're talking about regulating this like alcohol, there's no restrictions on alcohol advertising.
Do you mean no advertising for the recreational? They're talking medical as well.
My understanding right now, I think it's for the recreational, because that's what
Right.
the 64 Task Force is working on.
Right.
But when we talk about this industry, a lot of the medical, as you've probably seen, they're all talking about moving towards that recreational, at least 50% of the market.
Well,
Right.
you know it's going to
a lot of
cannibalize
interest
the
in that.
industry,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with 50% of the market moving towards recreational, potentially moving towards recreational, businesses like yours and like ours could really take a big hit. And we employ people. We're employers out there as well.
Someone's calling. Should we take a call?
Sure.
Yeah, let's take a
Sure.
call.
Oh, he hung up.
Oh, it was an accidental call.
Oh, we got a butt
I was
dial.
like, we can get calls now?
I didn't. Yeah, that was a new one.
That's
I,
cool.
I can't wait till the day we can start
Nice,
taking
moving up
calls.
here at iCannabis.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. I like it.
Yeah, but anybody out there who's on our comment stream, please feel free to comment on this. But there's some interesting rationale. Here's the rationale. This is literally listed here, and I'm going to read this out for you guys, and let's talk about this. Amendment 64 allows for legal access and use of marijuana. It does not compel the state to allow the industry to expand its user base or frequency of use through marketing techniques.
Wow.
And it says marketing will expand and increase usage. And in parentheses, if it didn't, no one would invest in it. And then it says most forms of marketing are intrusive and will reach the under 21 audience.
Isn't allowing it to be 21 and over already increasing your user base?
Well, yeah, of course. Allowing it to be 21 and over is increasing user base, and I'm sure this is one of the reasons that LEAP existed was, hey, this is going to allow the black market to dwindle.
Yes, absolutely. And
Right.
in looking at the schematic of regulating marijuana like alcohol, it just makes most sense to put it in a structured environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this advertising ban or, it's
Tight
very-
regulation.
Yes, overreaching.
I don't really see us either, people putting out ads that says, smoke marijuana, it'll, make you, change your world,
You'll fly from now
Back
on.
when, cigarette ads, showed real, cool people smoking.
Like doctors smoking.
Doctors smoking.
Santa.
Yeah, so, I don't see us doing that. We've been in the medical industry for, 3 years. We're pretty professional when it comes
Everybody
to...
wants to be responsible with their marketing. I don't think that I've seen any ad in the recent past that has been an irresponsible marijuana ad. Everybody wants to
Well,
be responsible, I think.
Well, and I think, when I said alcohol is not restricted as far as advertising goes.
We have a call.
Correct.
If we have if we have a call, take it. Hello, you're on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how to get your stream.
Oh,
Oh. Just go on to iCannabisRadio.com. Are you not able to get the stream from there?
No.
Well,
We have a
Chat
tech.
says that I'm not the only one having the problem either.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
I guess
No,
we'll
that's
be
okay.
fixing some technical difficulties right now, huh?
Yeah. Well, while you're on, do you have any questions about anything? So you can't hear what we're talking about right now. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, clue me in. What are you talking about? I'm not sure.
Well, we've been talking about the fact that the Amendment 64 Task Force yesterday just said that they would like to eliminate or highly restrict all advertising for medical marijuana businesses when it comes to the recreational side of licensing.
Oh, that's really insane.
By the way, I'm sorry. Who are we talking to? What's your name, by the way, dear?
19 and 25-year-old. My name's Diane.
Diane, nice to talk to you.
Hi, Diane.
Thanks. And, I'm really tired of them trying to take the responsibility of parenting away from the parents.
Oh, I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, Christiana's a parent as well, so I know she can agree with you on that.
Yeah, Christiana and I are buds.
Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah.
You gotta, yeah, no,
I think it's ridiculous, and it might be something that we have to deal with now. I don't know. Sometimes you have to just maintain a starting point and then go back and try to change it later, because the bigger picture is let's get it behind the counters and off the streets, and that'll make it safe for our kids. And
absolutely.
Well,
and have a conversation with your child, maybe, if you're that concerned about them using marijuana without your knowledge. Be a parent.
Well, yeah.
Right, and open any magazine or newspaper, and they're bombarded with, prescription medication advertisements
Yep.
that have 4 pages of disclaimers of side effects and how it can cause you to have, 3 eyeballs and, beer ads and things like that. It's really pretty hypocritical.
I'd much rather explain to my son the pros and cons of marijuana than have to have a conversation with him about why there's 1,000 Viagra ads everywhere we look and what that is and does.
Well, in this
Exactly.
this type of constraint seems that it would create more or keep more the allure of what's been the black market side of, wow, they won't allow it to be in print, but I hear about it, so it's it's not allowing for the additional.
Well, I think that's a good point, Jason. Is that in a way we want them to be desensitized to it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We want them to just be like,
it eliminates the allure of an illicit activity.
Right.
It's no longer illicit if it's mainstream. If everybody's seeing it, in an educated, responsible manner, it does eliminate that illicit sort of excitement that kids get with drinking, like teenagers with alcohol.
It takes the taboo out of it.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
Exactly.
Now,
it's less dangerous.
We have to go on break, Diane. Do you have any last thoughts? Now, we are recording this, so you're welcome to come back. I apologize that for some reason the live streaming is not working. Our producer's working on it right now. But you will be able to get the recorded version of this up. He'll have it ready to go shortly after the show is done, so you can listen to the entire show. Do you have any?
Do that.
Awesome. Do you have any last thoughts before we go to break?
No, you guys are doing a great job. Thanks for all your efforts.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. You know what? You're always welcome to call in. We would love to have more callers, actually, and obviously we need to be live streaming so people can actually comment a little bit more. So
that will help.
We'll make sure that this problem doesn't happen again.
Thanks, Diane.
No problem.
Thanks, Diane. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we'll be back to continue this conversation. I think we can fill up the rest of the show with this debate right now. So thanks for joining us on Hemp Connoisseur. We'll be back in just a moment.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
The law offices of Vets and Maiden and Mats provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
The Hemp Connoisseur is Colorado's premier guide to hemp culture. Our mission is to elevate the image of the medical cannabis and hemp industries to create widespread acceptance of the cannabis sativa plant. You can find the latest issue of the Hemp Connoisseur at more than 200 7-Elevens, your favorite dispensary, MMJ doctor offices, and tattered covered bookstores. Do you consider yourself a cannabis connoisseur? Then come be a part of the Hemp Connoisseur's first cannabis championship. Visit us at thcmag.com for info on how to sample the best medicine Colorado has to offer.
You're listening to Hemp Connoisseur Radio on iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, we are back. As always, I'm David. We have Christiana Lewis. We have Jason Thomas from Leap. And we have Nathan Johnson from Cannapages. We are discussing the potential of an all-out advertising ban that was discussed by the Amendment 64 Task Force yesterday. Now, honestly, before we get further into this discussion, this is speculation, and I'm pretty sure that they're not going to get everything they asked for.
Also, I want to note, do we want to let Nathan talk about the event here?
Oh, yes,
really
actually,
quickly
that's actually one of the reasons we did put Nathan in.
That's why he's here, so let's let him do his thing.
I just love having two guests on. I'm like, now you're trapped for the rest of the hour.
Now you're stuck here, and you have to talk about what we want.
Conversation. This is very exciting.
It is, right? It's exciting and scary at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So, Nathan, tell us about the event.
All right. Well, let's see here. This is like I mentioned before. We've been live for 3 years, so we're doing a third-year birthday spectacular, is what we're calling it.
Right on.
We did one last year. It was at the Oriental. It went over pretty well, and I think the biggest thing that people were talking about last year was the birthday cake, because we had an enormous birthday cake. I think about a pound of trim went into making it.
Nice.
And I think we had 300 pieces, something like that.
I hear that this cake is outdoing the last one. Is that true?
Yeah, this one's pretty much blowing it out of the water. Yeah. This one, there's going to be 10 pounds of trim.
Wow.
And they're going to do upwards to 500 plus pieces.
It's intense.
It is. And so each piece is, I think they said, roughly around 50 milligrams. At least you'd be able to dose yourself as a patient.
Right.
Good.
So they did all the proper calculations and whatnot. And we just definitely want to give a shout out to Baked Edibles.
Those guys are awesome.
They're great.
Yeah,
Baked is wonderful.
And so that was kind of the big draw, I think, because last year, basically after the cake got eaten, it was just like quiet, like half an hour later, it was like everyone was enjoying the music, just chilling, you know, like all right, did our thing.
Where's the event being held?
It's over at the Aslan Theater, Art District, like 10th and Santa Fe, right over there. So definitely a cool venue, a little bit bigger than the Oriental, a little more open.
And that's this Sunday, isn't it?
That's this Sunday.
And also the information for this is available on the Hemp Connoisseur Facebook page as well.
Yes, it is. Because we'll be there as well. We'll be there as well. So we're excited to be a part of it.
Definitely.
And what time does it start?
Doors open at 6, and it goes till midnight. We have there's a DJ that's going to start it out, and then we have a couple bands. Whiskey Tango is headlining.
Oh, great!
They were nominated for Best Jam Band down by Westwood. And then the opener is Wonderlick, and they were nominated for Best Jam Band.
Nice. Oh, cool!
So we got some real good music happening there. We also were planning on giving out a couple VIP passes here today on the show.
That's right.
Okay.
And basically what that does is you call it, probably the 10th person, we're going to say, like, email us at rsvp@canapages.com. You guys will get you'll get a VIP pass and then a +1 VIP pass for your friend. So as the winner, you'll get a Canapages gift bag that has like a T-shirt, a koozie, a beer koozie or whatever. A lanyard, some stickers, and then you also get an edibles goodie bag, which is one of the other things we're doing at the event.
Wonderful.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of edibles companies are donating, and you'll be able to basically pick one up for a free will donation, about $10, but the bag itself is probably worth upward like $100.
Wow, that's
awesome. Edible samples plus coupons, all sorts of stuff.
We should make people aware you have to have a red card to go to the event.
Right, you do have to have a red card to go to the event, and it's gonna be pretty excellent. I know that it's hosted by the MMJ Meet and Greet, which actually happens every month.
Yep, we had AJ on last week talking about it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so it's gonna be an awesome event, and I should say that again. So RSVP@Canapages. If you guys want to get the VIP pass, just make sure you guys send an email with your first and last name, and the 10th person is gonna win that. You'll be able to pick that up at the actual event at the entrance booth.
Okay, and what we'll do is we'll have a producer. Sam's gonna throw that in as a note for people who can't listen to us live right now, so that we can hopefully get that ball rolling for you guys. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. I know Christian and I will be there.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great time.
Jay's going to be there as well.
Wonderful.
Hey, it's going to be a reunion. It's going to be perfect.
Well, the THC crew gets press passes, obviously. You guys can pick that up.
Exciting. We like that.
That'd be nice. It's going to be cool. We actually we got an email from the press representative from The Economist.
Really?
Wow.
He was asking if he could come down. I guess he gets in at 8. Yeah.
He just wanted some cake.
He just wants some cake. What it is,
He heard about the birthday cake.
Let me use my press.
10 pounds of trim. I'm coming down.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a pretty excellent event, and I mean, if you guys do know anybody that doesn't have a red card, you can actually send their first and last name to RSVP@Canapages, and you can get on the door list.
Okay.
But we prefer that it's friends of people with red cards.
Of course.
Right.
Just because of the Amendment 64, it's available. We're just trying not to push the
Exactly.
envelope.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's safe
fair.
to do until we know what the regulations are going to be passed down on everybody. Yeah. That's one thing is those of us who are left in the industry are the ones that were really anal about making sure that we didn't break any rules. And I know that AJ's done an amazing job with the meet and greet over the years to make sure that he has followed the rules of what was acceptable, and he did make sure that it was approved, or I wouldn't say endorsed, but allowed by the Denver Police Department.
Well, he keeps the communication so wide open.
Right,
awesome.
and open door policy really does a lot for the relationship between law enforcement and the MMJ.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
so
it does.
And hopefully promoting something like this wouldn't be considered illegal by the possible advertising ban.
Are they thinking like online advertising?
So I have a breakdown. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little reading here. So forgive me for a moment. So state level prohibit intrusive. So they're talking about phase 1 to enact, and then they said they want to enact a state statute that provides flexibility for local jurisdictions when it comes to marketing. But what that makes me say is if the state is saying one thing, then the local jurisdiction can be stricter, but they can't be looser. Am I right in thinking that on the legal side?
Well, no, I'm not an attorney.
I know.
So
I always ask law enforcement people that, and that's the first thing they always say. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to say anything.
I would say maybe.
Maybe.
Depending on how it shakes out.
Right. So I'm just going to read through a quick list, so bear with me for a second. So first, they want to restrict all commercial marketing activities outside of the marijuana shops. They will allow some in-store branding or marketing, but no product claims or comparisons, free products or samples, or cross-promotions. An example of this is buy this and get that, so like a buy one, get one free. And then it says under that, scope is to be determined. Then it says whether state-owned or licensed shops, they deploy a uniform exterior signage package. They can provide a catalog of approved signage alternatives. So they're basically going to say these are the type of signs you can have.
So they're going to make everybody change their signs?
Yeah, possibly. If you want to be recreational. Now they're saying prohibit loyalty or frequent flyer, quote-unquote, programs. So none of those like...
So member loyalty programs are...
Yeah, no, like buy 8 eighths, get the ninth eighth for free or half price or something like that. It says only marijuana products should be offered in these shops. No traditional drinks, shirts, or candy. So in other words, I can't provide a T-shirt that says, you know,
or soda,
a soda or
drink.
anything like that. It's just marijuana. So what they're almost saying is that idea everybody started having when 64 passed, that there would be a bunch of coffee shops out there, just like Amsterdam. They're saying no, that wouldn't happen.
So you got to make it a really sad place to come and get your...
It's like a liquor store. They're basically making it like a liquor store.
Like just a stark...
Although liquor stores sell sodas.
Yeah, they do sell sodas because you mix drinks.
You mix drinks, yes.
Well, but what's the purpose of not being able to sell a T-shirt when they could go literally...
Well, because that's branding and advertising if it's a T-shirt with their logo on it.
That is. If you have a T-shirt, yeah. If you have a T-shirt with your logo or anything, then now that's advertising of your company and your product.
Well,
so
what if a third party makes the shirts and distributes them?
Well, like some centers sell hemp hoodlum stuff, which is amazing.
It is.
As we all know and love them.
And yeah, the hemp center sells a lot of hemp products.
Yeah, tons of hemp products.
Yeah.
Every hemp kind of product you could think of, they sell in there.
Yeah, and now they're under what I just read and what I think everybody else is reading it as is say no, you wouldn't be able to do that anymore. If you're selling cannabis, if you're selling marijuana, I should say, you're only allowed to sell marijuana or marijuana products. I would guess.
So edibles, extracted products.
Edibles, extracted products. Well, and then we have no idea what they're going to talk about when it comes to extracted products.
I guess that's true.
It kind of seems like that they're trying to keep the medical industry alive because, as a store owner, I'd be like, man, I want to brand myself. I want to be able to sell what I want in my store.
Right.
It seems like there's a lot to weigh as a dispensary owner. Like, do I want to go this route?
Yep.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that they have here, too. So I'm going to run through a list because it's a lot. They want to prohibit the health benefit claims in advertising. So while we all know it's a medicine and it has benefits, everybody
proven research more and more.
They're not going to allow them to actually make any health benefit claims in the advertising, in any merchandising and packaging. Of course, now they're saying any merchandising, but if I read the level before that, they're saying no merchandising anyway. So I don't think this is like a big list that I expect will get smaller and it'll be much less limitation.
So like all generic packaging then, like black and white labels.
Yep. They also say require a website for marijuana education, which will be state-run.
Ooh.
Always scary.
Non-biased, though.
To be listed on all advertising websites, merchandising, and packaging. So is the state trying to make money as well off of this more? Because they're saying now if there's any advertising, any website or merchandising or packaging has to list... That's how I'm reading this. Has to list the state website.
The educational website.
The educational website.
No, we're going to do quotations. The educational website.
Quote-unquote educational website, which they did say would be a non-biased, scientific, educational, about education on marijuana, which, I'm sorry, if we
science-based.
Non-biased is not what I would call what this task force is at this point, as to who is appointed to it and how many of the governor's people were appointed more than industry people.
I'd say marijuana's outnumbered.
Yeah, and then it says on the local level, they will allow website for growers, producers, and or retailers. This is if the local level decides. So maybe in this, what I'm reading now is saying the local level might allow a little bit more flexibility. They said they can allow advertising, but it says in there, in parentheses, says black and white advertising with, again, no claims or characters. So in other words, I would say when you say character, I think like Joe Camel.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's outlawed already. Like you can't have cartoon characters in your ads. That's already a thing. You can't market to children.
Yeah, but in publications and distributed exclusively in 21 and over environments. So what they're saying is, in concerns with us on the Hemp Connoisseur, if you want to, we would have to go to black and white advertising.
Right, all black and white.
All black and white.
Make a very attractive magazine.
Yeah, well, that didn't work too well for another company once that tried that. And I can only distribute the magazine now in bars.
Right, no more 7-Eleven distribution, no more wet glass
No more
shops.
7-Elevens, no more glass shops.
Well, I know that's 18 and over.
That's 18 and over, not 21 and over.
Quite,
They're
so
saying
no
it has to
glass
be
shops.
21 and over to advertise.
No. What about evaluation clinics? Would that fall under that? Or?
I don't know, but that's
You can be
medical.
any age
That
to
is
the
on the
doctor,
medical side of the
right?
evaluation clinic. So my understanding is everything we're discussing here has to do with the recreational side.
Sounds like it, yes.
Right.
Well, the task force, that's their
Right, that's the goal.
purpose.
Right, and they said in local areas, they may allow certain enhancements to the exterior signage package, such as, graphic elements and or name identifiers. Well, isn't that what a sign is? Isn't a sign a name identifier?
So you can put your company name on your sign.
You can. How nice of that. And then it did say
Maybe a logo, maybe.
that local
That's nice.
levels could allow opt-in marketing programs such as Email Club, as long as there's an opt-out feature provided, like a do not call list that permanently unsubscribes, and then there's no sale or sharing of email addresses as well. So I mean, some of these I'm not necessarily opposed to. I get the whole no selling of email lists.
Of
That's
course.
private information.
Of course.
Well, but look at Facebook, and I'm friends with a lot of center owners and
Yeah.
like a lot of center pages, so will they not be allowed to advertise? Or
Could they not have
at least
Facebooks
post?
anymore?
Well, that's a good question. Can they not have Facebooks anymore? I mean,
It's freedom of speech. It seems like it kind of.
It is.
It seems like
Infringing on some of
it's
these,
infringing on freedom of speech. I like I said, Christiana told me about this last night, and of course, I almost blew a gasket. We're just getting our foothold in this industry as a magazine, and I know after 3 years with Canna Pages,
exactly.
if the state all of a sudden says, "Wow, you can't make your principal means of income is going to be cut in half," or for us, actually, pretty much. I mean, that's 90% of our advertising, and we feel like as a magazine that we're providing a useful service for readers out there. We're providing information.
Yeah.
We're letting them know what's going on in the industry. We're letting them know what's going on.
We strive to be a responsible resource.
Exactly, and I felt like the way that we created our advertising was very limited as far as we didn't allow the T&A. We didn't allow coupons or pricing or anything like on anything lower than an ounce because we didn't want to get involved in a price war, and we felt like it was tacky. Especially trying to sell medicine, and we felt like that was something we were going to stay with through the recreational side. But now they're saying, well, we can't even have a page where it's a profile telling what a dispensary is, what they're about, without having their pricing, but just having a menu. It's just an informative page, just letting people know where to find them and a profile about that site. And they're now saying, well, you can't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there any other industry that has these types of constraints on it? That's legal?
That's legal? No.
Tobacco.
Well, tobacco does.
Some,
Tobacco
yes.
does.
But tobacco-
nobody kills more people than tobacco.
Right, tobacco kills people, so let's be clear on that.
Yeah, let's be clear. Tobacco did have print advertising for quite some time. They were eliminated from TVs. They were eliminated from billboards. It was slowly, incrementally pared down.
Yes.
But again, we're talking like we're supposed to be regulated like alcohol. There's no, like we said, there's no restrictions on alcohol. I had a misconception, and I don't know if you guys have noticed. If you've ever watched alcohol ads, they never drink.
Mm-hmm.
They never drink. You might see them bring the bottle up to their mouth. It doesn't touch their mouth. And then you see them bringing it down with a half-empty bottle or glass, but you never actually see them consume. That was actually created by the alcohol industry. So no government entity came in and said, you can't do this. They decided to do that to be more responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I say is let our industry...
Let us self-govern.
Let us
Please.
We're a free market society, aren't we?
Yes,
in
we are.
every other aspect.
And they've already done this, like the advertising ban. They did the outdoor advertising ban. No more billboards in Denver. No sign spinners. They're limited to the street signs and all that. So they already did all this.
They did, and I know I've talked to a lot of dispensary owners who utilized that, and they were very successful with it. And it was a bit of a bummer for them because they employed people. These sign spinners.
Yeah, they had jobs.
Yes.
It was
They
a
did.
job.
But I also do understand that.
Sure, because it's not. I mean, as a medical system that was set up now, and I mean, going forward with recreational will be a little different. But as a medical marijuana, it's not an impulse buy to where you're spinning a sign on the side of the road, and somebody goes, "Oh, I need an eighth."
And so I veer off.
Yeah, you typically, as a marijuana patient, you knew that you were going to do that day. You weren't necessarily going to be stopping because somebody's twirling a sign in your face.
Yeah.
It's not an impulse item like a coffee or I don't know what else. It's like the pharmacy does that,
Well, I think we have to go on a break. We're already way over on going to a break, but it's internet and nobody's listening to us live right now because it's not being able to be streamed. So hey,
But they will.
but they will hear the commercials later.
But, let's come back and let's talk a little bit more about. Maybe we need to take as people who make our money in marketing, Nathan. Maybe we can talk more about this free market approach and what we can do to maybe expand the minds of the task force to understand what kind of effect they can have on the industry by doing something like this.
Because we want responsible marketing.
Exactly. So we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On Grass. Runongrass.com.
Dixie Elixirs and Edibles, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment. Dixie Elixirs infuse sparkling beverages. Dixie Edibles, dewdrops, tonics, and Dixie Scripts extraordinarily concentrated cannabis extract capsules, along with Dixie Botanicals, all-natural topical therapy. All of these medicinal remedies are available at your local medical marijuana center. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, so we're back. It seems like we have really just one topic for the day, but I think it's something that we can probably talk for a while about. So I wanted to talk about taking the free market approach on this thing. So a quick question, and if you can't comment on any of this stuff, please feel free to tell me that, Nathan. But how many people do you guys employ right now at Canna Pages?
Let's see here. It's a pretty small staff. We have a couple people on the payroll, from salespeople to like an office administrator kind of thing. So the rest of the people are just the founders. But yeah, we do definitely employ a couple of people.
Right. And you're reaching how many patients do you think on a regular basis? How many hits do you guys normally get?
Well, we're doing probably 200 unique a day. So whatever that multiplies out to,
a lot.
I think 60,000. Is that 100 times 30? No, 6,000.
6,000.
It sounded really good.
It sounded really good, but still really good.
Yeah.
And so and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say 100% of your revenue is coming from marketing.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. So that's one company that has emerged from our industry and is successful, that would actually probably fold from a measure like this.
Yeah, I mean, if they said there can be no more advertising like that, then pretty much
it would wreck a lot of businesses.
Yeah, it would wreck a lot of businesses, definitely.
Right now, the Hemp Connoisseur, we have 3 full-time people on our payroll, not including the partnership, because honestly, we're not on the payroll. And then we have our freelance writers, where we, from any given issue, we're contracting out to, I would say, 5 to 10 different writers on any issue that are getting paid to provide, in-depth editorial for all of our readers. Not to
mention the additional economy boost we give to our distribution company.
And then there is our distribution company.
Drivers.
The drivers, yep. Everybody that gets money from that. And then there's when it comes time for sponsorship of events such as the meet and greet to let people know about that and get that out there. I mean, we're obviously just stepping into that, but we try to get our hands into a lot of different things to help promote all of our dispensaries, all of our advertisers, I should say, and to help promote nonprofits. I mean, we do free, our advertising income from our advertisers allows us to provide free advertising for some of the nonprofit organizations out there, like NCIA, Safer, Marijuana Policy Project, just to name a few. And so we're helping to try to provide notoriety, but all of our income is generated from advertising from the medical marijuana industry. So, and that's just us alone. We're not even mentioning some of our competitors out there.
98% of it.
98%, I would say. 98%. And then we also
have a few others.
And then there's our competitors out there who are in the same boat as us.
Yeah,
there's Culture Magazine. There's the Westward, although actually it looks like somehow the Westward was actually mentioned as acceptable form of advertising because it's black and white.
I was thinking about that exact same.
Isn't that interesting?
That's very curious.
It's very interesting that they're okay, even though the Westward is available. They're widely available. I mean, they're in every convenience store in Denver. I mean, that's not over 21.
Yeah, a kid could go grab a candy bar and then leave the 7-Eleven and grab their Westward and then flip through all the marijuana.
So I'd like to wonder if they really thought this through, because they did say, well, it has to be available only in over 21, but then they actually said the Westward or the Boulder Weekly as examples of proper advertising.
Acceptable.
So acceptable advertising for dispensaries to be right next to massage parlors.
Yeah, well, that's what I would like to say is when we talk about responsible advertising.
And let me just say, I'm not knocking the Westward or Boulder Weekly at all. They're great publications.
They're wonderful.
I'm just saying that they do put dispensaries on the back section.
They do. And if you want to talk about banning advertising, I would much rather my child see any marijuana ad that I've ever seen than any of the quote unquote massage ads that are in the back of the Westward.
Or maybe a penis pill on TV.
Yeah, I would just much rather he see.
Right.
I've just never seen any harm come from it. And my God, if your child has a question about an ad they saw, answer their question. It's that easy.
Exactly. It's not that difficult. It really isn't.
Well, but it's opening the door in the discussion with your children.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a 17 and 50-year-old daughters, and we've had a number of discussions, but it still scares me what's out there with drugs, with other things that they'll fall prey to.
Right.
And so educate them, talk to them about it, open the door, take a deep breath, and as a parent.
Well, it's interesting. You're actually reminding me of something that happened to me on Sunday. So, as people who listen to us regularly know, I'm from Boston area. So I'm a Patriots fan. Sorry, Broncos. I was hoping for a Broncos-Patriots AFC Championship game.
That's
because I wanted to be here. I wanted to go to that game.
That would have been good.
But both our teams are out, so we can all commiserate together. You guys can all go ahead and jump up and down because nobody wanted the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl.
Wisconsin, so I'm in the same.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat.
They're all out.
But a friend of mine came over to watch the game with me because he's from the Boston area too. So he's a Patriot fan. So I was like, let me find one guy who's rooting for the same team as me, and he brought his son over. And his son is now, I'm terrible about kids' ages. I think he's like 9 or 10 now. Maybe he's 11. But one of the things is whenever his son came over, I would, if we were hanging out, we would smoke because we're hanging out. We're both red card holders and all that. But we would always go into the other room. And, I'm like, well, this is my house. If I was going to have a beer in my house, I would have a beer in front of your kid, and it wouldn't be any issue.
Sure.
So I actually had a conversation with him about it, because I did. I had put it in the garage and everything, and then I was like, let's just say his name's Joe. It's not, but I'm going to say his name is Joe. Sure. So I said, Joe, marijuana is legal now. How do you feel about us smoking in front of your son? And he was like, he's like, you're absolutely right. He's like, I have a beer in front of my kid anytime. And he understands it. It's just a part of life. He knows he can't drink it. He knows he's too young to consume alcohol. And he's a responsible kid. And he is. He's a very smart, responsible kid. And so we were like, well, how do you feel about this? I mean, I was like, I'm going to respect you on this. But again, at the same point, we should be at that point where as adults, we should be able to consume cannabis in front of children without having to worry about it, as long as they understand the ramifications of the fact of it. I told him, I was like, look, I'm happy to talk to him about it and say, look, this is something studies have shown that if you're under 18, it is not a good idea to smoke cannabis because it can affect your brain function later on in life. Not like immensely like it's going to make you an idiot,
No, but
it does.
their teenage brains are still growing.
And it does, and it can affect. I think they said the IQ from your IQ points can drop anywhere from 2 to 10 points if you're a regular consumer of cannabis before you're the age of 18. And I was like, well, I'm happy to tell him this, and he's like, yeah, I mean, honestly, if we do it like it doesn't matter. He's probably not even going to ask about it because he's never mentioned it before. And so we kind of said, well, let's take a test. And we're ready to have that conversation with him. And he was just sitting on, he's one of those kids, he's sitting there playing a game on his computer in the same room as us while we're watching the game. And so we did. We just picked it up and we both took a couple of hits. And it was never mentioned at all. I mean, he didn't even notice. Honestly, he didn't even notice it. But it was an interesting conversation to have because we were prepared for it. I even said, look, sometimes when it comes from your dad, you don't listen as much.
Right.
I knew I didn't listen to my parents as much as I'd listen to somebody else. But so I said I'll be there I'll be happy to have that conversation with him as somebody who would be, I don't want to say a quote unquote expert on it, but I think I'm very learned on the subject more than your layman's person. And so I was like, I'm happy to have that conversation with him and tell him, look, this is why it's not good for you when you're 18 and over, or when you're 21 and over. Really, it's fine for you to go ahead and consume. You definitely don't want to consume it before you're 18, just for these reasons. And I think that those reasons are enough that will deter a lot of children out there. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be stupid when I get older. Mm-hmm. Not that I know.
Agreed, but it's the perception.
It's the perception.
The possible expectation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. If you're under 18 and maybe even into your late teens, you probably shouldn't be smoking or using cannabis.
I agree.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we as an industry need to understand, and we need to put that information out there on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. When you go in to buy tobacco now, they do have all those signs and blah, blah, for pregnant women and yada yada on the tobacco side. And I do think that there should be something like that out there. And I'm not opposed to even having those kind of disclaimers on product labels, but I think that's the difference. Is let's not make it something that's hidden in secret.
Right.
Let's make it something that we're like, okay, it's there, but this is the facts behind it, and this is like, here's your warning sign. Yes, you do not want to consume this if you're under 18 because it can affect your brain function as you get older.
Well, and as we have those constraints in this industry, it'll only help to legitimize the industry and provide the constraints that will make it work within our society.
Well, I think that's a great point, Jason, because I think that's one of the other things that I think they're missing the boat on if they do want to do this advertising, is they're still keeping this industry, it's not legitimate.
It's like underground still, in a way. It's making it, like you said, more illicit in a way.
Well, it provides that perception of the taboo.
Yes.
I hear about it, but I can't see it, but there are these different things that contradict each other.
Right.
And now an open and legal industry.
Every Colorado parent should be having a conversation with their child about marijuana and cannabis because of the legalization measures passing. Because of 64, every single parent in Colorado should have a conversation with their child about marijuana.
Yeah.
Because it's prevalent here now. They should know that they shouldn't be smoking it as teenagers,
right.
And the reasons why, and be educating themselves on all the aspects of marijuana. As a parent, if I wasn't in this industry, that's what I would want to do: educate myself, educate my family on the facts about marijuana. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't know and you're opposed, why? You're just letting past paranoia and lies kind of run your life. You need to educate yourself and educate your family.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think it needs to kind of, over the years, it just needs to develop to be part of our everyday life here, just like alcohol is. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like you're doing it every day. I don't mean like that. It's just something, when kids go by a liquor store, I don't see the kids staring at that liquor store.
What's in there?
What's going on in there?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, they're desensitized.
Yes.
Right.
And as this becomes more prevalent, more mainstream,
it's less interesting.
It is. Because it just becomes more mundane and part of everyday life and the scenery.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and there's conversation. One of the other points I read in this, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on this, but they were saying that they're talking about whether, and this, they're not saying yes or no, but they're saying whether they want to allow minors to be accompanied by their parent to go into a dispensary. So here's the thing. Again, being as a bartender for a long time, kids could go to bars with their parents. They couldn't drink. I wasn't serving them, even though there was always a parent. I don't know if you guys realize it. There was always a parent out there who's like, well, they're with me. My son could have a beer with me. And I'm like, no, he can't. He can't have it. I don't care if he's 18. I don't care. What's that?
Actually, there's a provision in Colorado where parents can allow their children over 18 to drink in the company of their parents.
Ah, yes. At home, though. Not at the bar. Oh, no. Well, even if it's allowed at a bar, I'm pretty sure, I mean,
well,
I would,
as a bartender,
as a bar owner, I would never allow a child to drink.
That's pretty risky.
Ever. I don't care if the parent is there. But and again, we're not talking about consumption on site for cannabis, but yet a kid can go into a bar where there's somebody drunk and who's getting unruly or whatever it is.
Well, children can go into the medical establishments now, but not in the bud room.
Restricted areas.
They cannot go into the restricted areas.
They can be in the waiting area.
Wait in the waiting area. Yeah. And I mean, look, if you got your kid and you want to get your medicine, you should be able to do it. I can walk into a liquor store with a kid.
I've been into many dispensaries. They're very safe inside.
Those dispensaries are safer than most anywhere else.
Right?
Yes.
No.
But yeah, I think it's just interesting to see that there's still this. I mean, you can see from this task force that there's this huge stigma still on marijuana. As if it's this dangerous. And there's something even funnier in here. There was something else that I was reading that was talking about all the many forms of cannabis that may be developed down the line.
Did you say injectable? Did you read that?
They said injectable, and they also said snortable.
What is happening?
Really? Who is going to snort cannabis? When I can smoke it, I can eat it. Why would I? I mean, injecting it is one thing that's weird. But in fact, injecting it, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't get why anybody would want to inject it.
Why would
I want to snort it? Why?
That sounds awful.
It doesn't.
They're still trying to treat it like a Schedule 1. They're like, it's just as bad as all these other ones. So obviously can do your body what you do with the other drugs. It's just all backwards and mixed up.
I feel like their prerequisite to this task force meeting was to watch Reefer Madness before they started.
It seems like it, right?
Yeah.
It does. And it tells me how little they know. It really tells me how little these people who are creating regulations for an industry know about the actual industry, and that's scary.
It is really alarming. Scary. It's alarming when you have people making rules who have no idea what they're making rules about.
They don't.
And another piece, it's negotiation within the different groups.
Yeah.
But they're on a short fuse to get this done.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's like a rush, and it's scary because we know that we do have some people from the industry representing and helping with the rulemaking, which is wonderful. It's the non-industry people that are concerning.
But the majority are non-industry people.
I know it's not an even.
A great majority,
it's not an even number.
Do you want me to jump in first?
Sure,
Jason, please do. Stickman's in the audience from Overgrown Radio here. He's sitting in the studio.
I'll be an audience guy. Hey guys, thanks for letting me talk because I like to do that.
Yeah.
I think an overview, you guys are hitting it on the head. We have our work cut out for us. I've been lucky, I guess that's not really the right word, to be able to sit in most of the meetings, not just my own work group.
Right.
It is stacked against us, and I want to say, and I'm going to try to be nice so I keep a good working relationship for anyone listening. Two of the three groups seem to lean a lot towards the Reefer Madness, and they also seem to be more of the important groups, and they're stacked with drug counselors, police, that type of thing. On a positive note, I was able to attend the subgroup this morning, or early afternoon, when they were talking about this, about the children's issues, and about taking parents, or children from parents. And, I guess they're starting to respect me as a fellow work group member. Mm-hmm. So they actually allowed me to give them a short presentation for about 10 minutes just on the fly. And, I basically told them that we have a chance here to correct a wrong, So I think, point being, I think if the few of us, the good ones that are in there.
Educated. We'll say educated ones.
Yes.
Let's just
if we all put forth a lot of effort, I know my life is completely all consumed right now with this task force.
Right.
If we all do that for a couple months, I think we'll come out okay.
Okay.
If we get lax and let the other people run the show, then
right. It's just a hard task for you guys to educate a group that just has no idea,
or doesn't necessarily. I mean, and I'm going to say this, not you, I'm speaking about a task force. I don't know everybody,
Sure.
But my thought is, I don't know if they necessarily want to be educated.
Well, I was going to say,
Some of them
I don't mind upsetting this guy. Charlie Garcia, one of the main task force members, is also the co-chair, of the criminal law subgroup, and he ran the meeting this morning along with Rachel, I don't remember her last name. And during my presentation, he says, so you're telling me that cannabis smoke around children is not harmful to them? And I said, well, according to the most recent science, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And I said, I would be happy to forward emails to you or Rachel, either one, or studies, peer-reviewed studies. And his response was, I don't want to see those studies.
Need Shackelford to talk to them about
I also suggested Shackelford, Spoon,
dangerous nature of marijuana smoke, and that it actually kills cancer.
That's one of those times. That's one of those times. It was like, wait a minute, just for the record, I want to be clear that I wanted to present you a study, and you said you did not want to see that study.
You don't want information.
Just for the record, I want to reiterate that you didn't want the information that you need to effectively make a decision.
Now, that's the second time. Let me clarify that this is the second time. I also offered and sent studies to Ian from RM3 Labs, who never looked at them. And I would think he would be on our team.
Right.
But
seems like he should be.
One would think.
Other people, so shouldn't it seem like you would have to vote for Amendment 64 to be on the task force? I don't understand how there's people that vote against it that are still fighting it. It's in
law. The governor, he signed it. It's here now.
Yeah, but a lot of these were appointed by the governor.
I was going to say, I'll admit, I like the diversity. Just to give you guys an example, my work group, if you're able to get there tomorrow, we have people that are prohibitionists, and people like me. What I see in my work group is everyone's like, okay, we've got this, let's do our best to move forward and implement it in the best possible way. The problem is the criminal law group and consumer safety group are the two that I mentioned. And with those two, it's not. We're still they're wasting our time sitting up there arguing about if cannabis is bad or if it hurts my child. Or these aren't issues to be argued right now. The governor gave us a specific task. We even have a template for our recommendations that we're supposed to follow step by step to see if it applies to implementing 64. So, you're exactly right. What I would like to say to these folks is if you want to sit here and do this and waste the very limited time that we have to get this right, please step down and let someone sit there that will be productive.
That wants to follow through and make rules for this and get it
Now, is there somebody monitoring this list and saying, wait a minute, you guys are off task?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, now that depends on which work group you're in, obviously. Right. Speaking of the consumer safety group, yesterday I was there, and I noticed a couple of times one of the co-chairs, Christian Sederberg, is great. He's the other co-chair. So without mentioning this guy's name, I just gave you his name.
Right.
The other one besides Christian, multiple times would just cut people off, when things would come up. Positive things, so it's just sorry.
Right.
I want to beat my head off the wall.
Let's not move it forward. Let's stop that right there.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you guys get back to your show.
No, it was great. Well, I just want to ask, which one of the task groups was the one that brought up the advertising? Consumer safety,
I bet.
I think it's criminal law.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong because they're also addressing. I'll check it's one of the two. It is one of the two, but I'll check my notes and let you know for sure. But the reason I say I think it's criminal law is that neither of the chairs were there, and from yesterday, so it couldn't have been the same. Sorry.
Interesting. And it seems like it seems like this was just thrown on everybody, like this entire list on the advertising ban. They're talking about pretty much not allowing anything.
Well, here's the other thing to that. And this was brought up by this Rachel lady at the meeting this morning for the ad ban yesterday. Everything that we do has to be public. Now, we're allowed to exchange emails back and forth. Hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? That type of thing. Hey, let's draw this proposal up.
Right.
But if you're actually having a subgroup meeting to where you would put together a proposal, ready to go for a recommendation, that's supposed to be a public meeting.
And this wasn't public.
It was not public. I mean, now I'll tell you, spoiler alert, without going into detail, that right now as I'm talking to you, a colleague of mine is writing a proposal for our meeting tomorrow. But that proposal will be, it's a very brief, hey, let's do this, this is what we want to do.
Right.
And then it will be discussed, and I doubt that it will come to a vote the same day. What I really, with this proposal, there obviously was a lot of work that went into it.
Was there a vote yesterday?
No.
No.
I can't
they
imagine
tabled
that
it.
They tabled it just to see what it was, and I heard the consensus was over 50% for this ban. Is that correct?
I don't know that I would say that for sure.
Okay.
But split.
But I know they were talking the Denver ban, and personally, I don't even agree with the Denver ban. I think it goes way too far.
They've already done that. It's very responsible marketing that is in place now, and I would assume that it should just follow the same model. I don't see why there needs to be additional bans in place when there's already laws in place for responsible marijuana marketing.
Well, exactly. And a fair compromise, off the record, I talked to some folks today and yesterday, is to kind of follow the guise of tobacco advertising. That's very strict.
Well, there's no tobacco advertising.
Yeah. I mean, they get some stuff, but mix it up between alcohol and tobacco, because there's restrictions on both.
Right.
You walk that fine line. One of our goals is not to bring lawsuits against the state of Colorado.
Right.
By any all-out ban,
there are going to be lawsuits.
Yeah, Denver's running the risk with their ban.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to see that.
Yeah. It's
and again, you're talking about a freedom of speech issue. To an extent when it comes to the written word, internet advertising, or anything like that.
I did want to say, because wasn't there, what was the rationale?
Oh, the rationale is...
The rationale with the marketing will expand and increase usage, and that's not what they want, right? But in the provision of 64, wasn't it like based on like increased tax revenue?
Well, it's increased tax. It's increased tax revenue.
That's what that was about.
Look. We know that there's going to be increased usage because everybody who did not get a red card, who was buying from the black market, is going to start buying legally now.
Right.
So check this out. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Interject.
Jump in.
Sorry to interject, but it's very interesting. We have a friend whose his girlfriend's grandmother is dying of cancer right now, and she's in the hospital. And they asked us, with Amendment 64 passing, like, hey, do you think, guys, you could make some brownies or make some edibles for us and whatnot? Or actually, they're saying for my grandma specifically.
Sure.
But the funny thing is when our friend brought in the edibles, they all decided to try some. And not because whatever, just because it was legal now.
Because it's legal.
Because it's like, because they were just
I can
specifically
have
not
this.
doing it
I'm allowed to do
because
it.
they were trying to follow the laws. So I think that could be an increased use. You'd be like, well, okay, it's legal. I guess they're saying it's not that bad now. Let me.
You'll get increased use because it is legal.
Their big argument was children. Increased use amongst teens.
It's gone down though.
Exactly.
I guess I just don't.
Regulation does drive that down. We see it in Portugal, Spain, and so many places around the world.
Regulation. That's the old reason why LEAP's been around, right? I mean,
regulation and education. That's
and thank God that a few people stood up and said, hey, this really comes down to responsible parenting.
Yeah, be a
nothing
parent.
more, nothing less. It's not the state's job to do this.
That's what drives me
there's so many
crazy.
subjects that we can go into on the whole responsible parenting thing, where it's like, for some reason now, and this is a broad generalization, American parents don't want to do their jobs, at least when it comes to things like, what am I going to tell my kids about gay marriage?
They don't want to have the tough conversation.
Tell them something. It's your job as a parent to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you what to tell them about how to not hit a hot stove or anything like that. I mean, that's your job as a parent.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
You have to have tough conversations with your children, and if you don't want to do that, then maybe you shouldn't have had children. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And I don't even think it's that hard of a conversation.
It's not. It's just be brave, okay? You're a parent. Talk to them.
To me, it's the funny thing is the bigger deal you make of that conversation, then the bigger deal it's going to be to your kid. But if it's if it's almost like, hey, by the way, about marijuana, let me just tell you a little something about this. Blah 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 blah.
My dad told me about like sex. He made like a huge deal. Like I had to go into his office. Like he made it all like I felt like just really weird. Like, what's going on? And he was like, okay. I tell you something, like real serious.
Like, oh God, did somebody die?
I was like scared of my dad for like, I was like, I just felt like just the weirdest thing. And if he would have been like, hey, by the way, let me tell you a normal part of life,
Sure.
people are gonna be talking about it at school. Let me just kind of explain this. But say, he drew like
He was
pictures.
stressed out about it.
He drew pictures like
He was more stressed than you were.
I'm sure he was just like, like wringing his.
He's probably just debating about it for days.
Right? Probably. You don't know how much prep time that took, too, right?
Of course,
Sweating it
I
out.
don't want to get down on it too much, but I just remember
poor dad.
thinking, like, if
That's
you
rough.
just made it not a big deal.
But at least he had that conversation with
Exactly.
you, even though it was hard for him.
Exactly, he did the right thing. In that
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta just do that. Have those conversations with your kids. Try not to make it a huge deal. I mean, I've had several conversations with my son about marijuana, and he knows all about it. And if he has questions, he knows he can ask me, and he does frequently. So you just have to be responsible and answer those questions.
Well, the cool thing is too is like when the kids are knowledgeable, their friends will say something to them. They feel good because they're the ones that know about it. They say, "Oh, have you heard about marijuana? Or I want to try some." He's like, they'd be like, "Well, my mom said that it's really not good for whatever."
My mom says that's medicine for her.
Right.
Well, I don't want to bring them up.
But that brings up, that's a funny point though, because the first kid who has the sex talk is the one who's like he can't wait to tell everybody else, and of course he bastardizes it and messes it up.
Oh my God, have you heard about this?
I know, right?
And as a parent, we empower our children by educating them and modeling for them. So have the tough conversations. Equip them to go out in the bigger world, because they're already in the real world.
Yep, knowledge is power.
Yes,
That's a real thing.
I just have to make a joke real quick before you guys get to go home. That I have a 10-year-old daughter, and from the time she could talk, she's learned about cannabis, and she knows it's my medicine. She treats it like any other medicine. And, I would honestly say that she probably knows more about cannabis and hemp than 90% of the people on the governor's task force.
My son too, and I think, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we've gone over yet another reason why we probably should be a 2-hour show, but a great conversation. Nathan, Jason, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Yeah, it's a good conversation.
Yeah, good to have you guys.
We definitely would love to have you both back. I can't wait to be at the party this Sunday. Let's tell everybody one more time about the meet and greet and the 3rd anniversary for Canopy.
Yeah, real quick here. This Sunday, January 27th, at the Aslan Theater, 10th and Santa Fe, from 6 to midnight. It's $10 out the door, and doing some VIP passes. So if you 10th person email RSVP at Canon Pages, doing that on the show here, and Jason later on Overgrow is going to be giving away a couple more. So stay tuned to iCannabis Radio. You'll be glad you did.
Awesome. Hey, I'd like to thank Diane, our first caller. That was kind of cool. Of course,
pretty wonderful. I like that.
Sad that it was because we weren't being live streamed, but hey, Diane, thanks so much. Feel free to call us anytime you want. Let your friends know. We'd love to get some more calls in. Jason's like, you got a caller? I never get callers. Jason Thomas, again, thank you so much for doing everything you've done with Leap.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
It's a privilege,
and
as well as a pleasure.
Right on. Well, we look forward to having you guys both back on, definitely.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christian, for standing in for Jason. I just want to say it's so much better to look at you than Jason.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. He would disagree, probably.
Of course he would. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us, and peace, love, and happiness. We'll see you next time.